Hello again, my name is Ana, and with the colleagues from Salto Inclusion and Diversity Resource Center, Maria, other Maria, and Olaja, we are very, very happy to bring back the ID Talks. This season, spring of 2026, we are talking about intergenerational solidarity. The Treaty on European Union states that the Union shall promote solidarity between generations. However, not always the words of the treaty are coming to real life. And we also see the negative attitudes towards certain age groups and demographics that are dividing our European societies. We have been discussing and discovering different concepts around the solidarity among generations. We have been talking about ageism, we have been talking about ancestors and offsprings, and now in these two last talks of the season, we want to connect you to some practices across Europe on intergenerational solidarity. Today's ID Talk practice is called Grandpa Tell Me More, and for me is an absolute privilege to introduce you our speakers today from the living room of my late grandma. I think it couldn't be any more ideal to do it today. So, what is intergenerational solidarity in practice? How does it take shape? What are the topics that are important for youth work, and how can youth organizations and their partners come together to do something around these topics? And how, more importantly, we can bring an added value through international dimension? We will be looking at the practice called Grandpa Tell Me More. We will learn from this youth-led practice by exploring its key elements, main outcomes, and important lessons learned with our friends from Scientifica from Portugal. We have two speakers today, not one. Our first speaker is Ana Moutas. She is a trainer, educator, freelancer, but most importantly, the director of the NGO Scientifica in the field of youth and education. And since 2017, she has been the coordinator of Agueda Youth Center, integrating the network of youth European stores, the Eurodesk network, and with multiple projects behind her belt that are both local and international with different European program schemes such as European Solidarity Corps and Erasmus Plus, and not only. And she is joined here together with her colleague Cláudia Numão. Claudia has a degree in social education and expertise in training, education, and adult education as well. She has dedicated her career to fostering inclusion and learning opportunities for diverse groups and has been volunteering extensively, committed to the value of solidarity. Currently, she is a youth worker and project manager, and she oversees the Key Action 2 and other projects promoting active participation and non-formal education. I could go on and tell much more about our today's speakers, but I think it's a good time to pass them the floor to start the presentation. I want to encourage you to ask them questions and use actively the chat. But for the moment, Anna, you start and you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Anna. To Annas. We are used to have many Annas in the room because here in Scientifica, we also are like three Annas, something like that. First of all, we would like to thank you for this opportunity to be in here, and also to congratulate Salto for the work Salto has done so far, mainly with the ID talks, which are a good way to learn by examples, and also we get very inspired from all we learn from the ID talks. So couldn't step forward without saying this, because you really do a great job. Today, we brought you here, and I'm going to share our presentation. We are going to talk about Grandpa Tell Me More. Grandpa Tell Me More, and not only Grandpa Tell Me More, some more projects we have. but Grandpa was the first project we actually built and put in the field intergenerationality and the dialogue between generations. At Científica is an NGO from Agda in Portugal with 20 years of practice in the youth field and education field. And so here we only bring, let's say, a small part of our job, and that we want to share with you in this Grandpa Tell Me More talk. First of all, I'll pass the word to Claudia to give you just some insights to begin.
And thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. And before we dive into today's session, I would like to invite you to do something simple for us to start building some kind of connection, not only between us, but also with the team of the presentation today. So take a moment and think about one person, someone who changed the way that you see the world, and please keep that person in mind throughout our talk. Okay, think about who you were when that change happened and who was that person for you. You are welcome to use the chat if you would like to share it and share with us. So moving to the next. When I think about that question, a special person comes to my mind. I was just 17 years old and I decided to start volunteering. And I wanted to do it in a nursing home. So I applied through a national program that there was in Portugal. That was from the Portuguese Youth Institute. It was the summer of 1999, let's say, a couple of years ago. I thought I was going there to teach something, maybe even help someone. But the first person that I connected with really ignited the solidarity spark in me. And that's when I started to reflect and clarify the difference between charity and solidarity. So every day, she opened a photo album and she started to tell her life story. You know, she mentioned the childhood, the wedding, the children, the same story. Every time we were together, every day, week after week during that summer. At first, I thought that she might have forgotten that she told me the story. But then I realized that she wasn't repeating it because she forgot. Telling her story allowed her to relive and sometimes even resignify some key moments of her story. She was repeating the story not because she forgot, but because she needed someone to witness her story. She needed to feel and be seen to make sure that the teacher, the mother, the wife in her still existed despite her age. And I also realized at 17 that I also shared the same need, the need to be seen and to be listened to. In that moment, with that realization, the gap between us became much smaller, and that's when something shifted. I went there with the impression that I wanted to give and to teach, but then a big question came to my mind that was who was teaching whom in reality? Because what I was receiving was far greater than what I was giving in my perception. So for me, this is what intergenerational solidarity looks like. It's not only a program or a policy, but it is a moment where we make real connections between generations. Also, I learned something that I carry throughout my life and the way that I work and that I live. And I also realized that good storytelling starts with a good story listening. So today we are here to present you three projects that we developed and we consider good practices in intergenerational solidarity. As Ana said before, I hope you are inspired by them. And Ana will take us on the journey, and you'll have a chance to get to know a little bit about how working in projects can facilitate the impact of intergenerational solidarity and achieving the main goal of social justice. So.
Thank you, Claudia, for this briefing introduction. First of all, what we bring here today is not about what we did, but actually it's about what others can do. It's more giving you a little bit ideas and the floor for taking action in the future. Grandpa Tell Me More was a KA2 from Erasmus Plus, a Key Action 2 project. It was financed and funded by our national agency from Erasmus Plus Youth Sports and European Solidarity Corps, at that time called only Youth in Action. It was much easier to say. And the theme, as you may know, is the intergenerational dialogue and learning process between these two generations, young people and elderly people. Sitting side by side, young people and elderly people, in order to find this difference and similarities between the two generations. It was basically these were the main goals of this project. If we want to speak a little bit more specifically, yes, we want to create a communication between these two generations. We also wanted to equip the youth workers, group leaders, trainers, and facilitators with knowledge, methodologies, and skills to support this learning process and this development between the two generations, and also to foster an entrepreneurial spirit among young people, so they can become more responsible and active citizens, because much of the things of the present and future are made by the young people, so we need to give them this floor. We also wanted to create some conditions and strengthen this communication in order to even youth workers and young people become leaders focused on these intergenerational issues and solutions within the local communities. And at last, we wanted to build a network of European young people working on NGOs who shared good practice among this theme. In terms of activities, and to show you how to put this into practices, we involved 4 countries, Portugal, United Kingdom, Italy, and Lithuania, with these 4 institutions. And the project had, let's say, these 5 steps. These 5 steps is how we basically prepared every path of the way to make that everyone involved could develop all the skills they could. So we have a part related to the management. As you know, a project always have to have management. So we had these transnational meetings among the consortium. We had a training course for youth workers to provide them with the skills and competence they needed to work then with young people. Then we had local sessions in every country, partner country, and these local sessions were made by the young people with the help of these youth workers that were in the training course. By the end of the project, we made a blended mobility and a youth exchange with a final exhibition for the community to know the path of the Grandpa Tell Me More and what we did along the way. So, transnational meetings. First step, transnational meetings, as I told you, is the part of management where we decide about, well, everything that can involve mobilities, what we're going to do. Financial management is also needed, as you know, and they occurred in each partner country. London, in this specific case, the United Kingdom, Abruzzo in Italy, and Vilnius, Lithuania. They were divided along the process. The project had 2 years of application. So we made one in the beginning, one more or less in the middle, and more or less in the end. So we can take each path of the way. Then there was the need to train youth workers with competences they needed to work locally when they come back to their communities, about everything that is related with intergenerational dialogue. Sometimes the word doesn't come out as we wish, because they would help them, and they would be the ones responsible to train young people to go to the elderly and nursing homes to do the local sessions. So this training happened here in Agda. It had 16 participants for the 4 partner countries. It lasted during 5 days, and we had a trainer that was like expert in this area, that could give us all the inputs and insights for us to build then all the intervention we were going to do in our communities. This was a very important part, because sometimes we have our own sensitiveness for the theme, but sometimes we don't know some specific questions that we should be aware about, as for example, how to deal with elderly people, what are their needs, how should I approach? And this was very important to talk about during these 5 days. After the training course, we moved to the local sessions. And we had 7 local sessions with different themes. And each country developed 7 local sessions in their community. In the case of Agda, we developed these sessions only in one nursing home that was really in the back street of our institution. It was called Paraíso Social, like social paradise, if you want to translate it. Not really nice the translation, but is the word it has in mind. And in this session, our participants involved in the project were prepared with our youth workers to develop these sessions in the community. So first of all, we needed some emotional security, and this emotional security is also for young people and also for the elderly people, not only for the young people. They needed to feel secure emotionally to share what we prepared for all these sessions. Then you need to give time. And what is to give time? We don't make this connection and this trustworthy relationship in one day or in one session. So we needed to go there one and another one and another one until they feel completely free and open to participate and to share. And also, and what already Claudia talked about, storytelling. Most storytelling is like a bridge between generations. You have a storyteller, a story listener, but this make the bridge between them because they share their stories somehow. And of course, this was co-created between young people and youth workers and our NGOs and the nursing home, because everything was planned with them. What type of sessions did we make? We started using themes that could be important for both generations, and this is really important. So we start by sharing stories, elderly people with our young people. Then we talk about family, what is represented to each of them, what is family actually for someone with 80 years old or someone with 18 is quite different view. So we picked up things that connected to their heart. I always learn that we learn by heart. We can listen and see things, but if it doesn't touch us, actually doesn't make any difference, or we will forget some years after. And so we decided to pick up themes that connected them with their memories, their lovely memories. That's why we started with these 2 sessions. Then we moved to traditional chants because elderly people know a lot of traditional chants. They are being lost actually from generation to generation. And this was a way for our young people to know better their own culture and the traditions of their community, because we are a small country, it's true, but there is a lot of different traditions between our municipalities even. Then we also talked about dating and wedding. This was a very, very interesting and session, because there were stories like, and let me share with you, for example, we couldn't kiss each other, but we always found a way. And they told enormous stories about how they broke the rules that their parents at that age that couldn't even walk side by side, hand by hand, or giving a kiss in public. And so they were sharing what things they did to just escape those rules. And they also talked about what wedding represented, and maybe mainly for women, that the man always had the last word, and the differences of treatment. And it was a really touching session. Also, we talked about traditional games, something that is getting lost also, and this was a way to pulling them back to the younger generation, to give a continuity to what they did. We also talked about school, and some interesting reports also came out. For example, we asked elderly people to draw what school meant to them. And for example, a lady drew an oven from a restaurant, because she said that everything she learned was at the restaurant. The restaurant where she worked was her school. She didn't have the opportunity to go to school, and so that was the school to her. And for the younger generation, that school is something that we don't even question. It's something that we have. We go, we learn, we have teachers, we have all the conditions. We don't think about it. We don't think it is a problem. And so it was really nice the way they shared their experiences, and how our younger people understood better their needs, and also their difficulties, by looking at them and say, okay, with 6-7 years old, I was playing and running in the playground while we were already working in a restaurant. And we finished with Arraial. Arraial is like a popular festival that we do to celebrate the saints, St. John, St. Peter, and St. Anthony in Portugal. All of them occur in June. And we prepare like traditional dances. We dress traditionally, as you see in this photo. The image you see here happened. It was in that activity in this elderly home in Aguada de Baixo. These are the place where they did the activities, and even young people and elderly people joined to make this arraial. It was very interesting once again, because there was this match between, okay, how you used to do, how can bring to the present, and how young people can give like a continuity to these celebrations, because sometimes they don't think this is fancy. And so this is a way to get them back to traditions. We also had more or less more close to the ending of the project, a blended mobility, which is this online connection plus the youth exchange. The participants from each partner country, during the local sessions, they were communicating with each other through an online platform. I think at the time it was Messenger. Now we use WhatsApp for everything, but at that time it was Messenger, if I'm not wrong. And then we joined all of them here in Agda for youth exchange. This youth exchange had also a performance at the end. We have a festival in Agda in July that is called Agitada. It's a full month of free concerts at weekends and street art and many other presentations in the streets during July and Agda, and everything is free. So we challenged our senior university to join us in what we call like a Grandpa Thank Me More, like something a little bit different. And what I have to show you here is a little bit of that week and the preparation of this Grandpa Thank Me More. Oops, sorry, it went to the wrong place.
Down to London town to go. Oh, with the record selection and the mirror's reflection, I'm a dancing with myself. Oh, when there's no one else inside, in the crowded lonely night. Well, I wait so long for my love vibration, and I'm dancing with myself. We're dancing with myself. We're dancing with myself. When there's nothing to lose and there's nothing to prove, but I'm dancing with myself. Every type of girl, but your empty eyes seem to pass me by, leave me dancing on with myself. So let's sink another drink, cause it'll give me time to think. If I had a chance, I'd ask the world to dance, and I'll be dancing on with myself. Dancing on with myself. Dancing on with myself. Well, there's nothing to lose, so there's nothing to prove. I'm dancing on with myself. Another drink, cause it'll give me time to think. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance, and I'll be dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance. If I had the chance, I'd ask a woman to dance.
Não danço mais, nem que me paguem.
Well, this was a very impressive moment for us, because sometimes we think, okay, they want to get aligned with us in this because it's too punk, it's too different, it's too young. But actually, all the participants from the senior university, they were just great and aligned in everything. They came to practice before the moment. It was a really, and even the connection between them, it was really, really strong. Young people and elderly people, it was really amazing. So during this youth exchange here, they actually reflect on everything they did before, the local sessions, the impact of it in them, and also they had this opportunity to visit our nursing home in Aguada de Baixo, in Águeda, and to be with the elderly people that participated in our local sessions, and also this Grandpa Punk Me More situation, and at the festival was a really interesting point of the project. With all these activities, at the end, we've made a final exhibition. We even went to the radio to disseminate the project. But we made an exhibition for the community. It was in this this nursing home that we developed the activity. So every member of the family of the elderly people could see what happened and understand the project that their relatives were involved. This was a way, let's say, of creating this intergenerational dialogue, having these regular sessions, having these meaningful things. This is very important, that the things really have a meaning for both sides. Having this face-to-face interaction is also really important. The presence, the feeling people, and also having youngsters as facilitators is very interesting to see them leading the process. And effectively, the power of all this is not in the activity itself, it's in the interaction they have with each other. This was what really made the difference between all of this. As results or outputs of this project, we have a toolkit that you can find at the website of the project. We also have a magazine about the project. We have there also examples of info packs. But this intergenerational work is not always about designing activities, it's more about designing these relationships. You have there the example of the activities and everything, but never forget, the important is that you can establish a relationship between you young people and the elderly people when you do the activities. This you can find everything in the website, as I told you, but just to give you a note, this project was considered and won the prize of a good practice by our national agency in 2018. It was really recognized as a good practice on the field. The image you have here is when they came to record an interview about the project in Agda. Outcomes, let's say, in these various parts. Individual, there is in terms of youth, you have improved in communication and teamwork skills, of course. In the adults, you increased engagement and in meaningful activities for them. In terms of the relational part, we share the experience that foster empathy and understanding. In terms of the community, you have more frequent collaboration between local groups and generations. And in terms of societal area, we have greater awareness of intergenerational issues and solidarity. It was a really, really interesting project in terms of what we saw, and sometimes we can never always put into words everything that we saw, and mainly in the reports to the national agencies, the changing we saw in our young people and also in the elderly people, the joy they have every time our young people stepped into the nursing home. I'll let you now with Claudia a little bit to talk about this connection between, this practice and theory.
Okay. Thank you, Ana, for the first part of our journey here today. So what we just saw was more than a list of activities that were done. We saw really generations to just choosing to meet. Because in reality, in our daily lives, generations don't always meet. So we live side by side in the same street sometimes, but we are often apart. We have different rhythms, we frequent different spaces. Sometimes we feel almost like we are in different worlds, and also we carry different assumptions about each other. So during the project and with a constant dialogue, It was possible for young people to discover that an old story can actually be considered wisdom, and they can take knowledge from that. And an older person realizing that young people are not that disconnected, but they have different worries. So now they have to navigate an even more complex world. Or just the conversation about dating, like you said, reveals that values are not lost or disappeared, like we usually say in the daily, that there is a value crisis. They are not lost, they just evolved. So the increase of social and emotional well-being and the empower and inclusion that comes from the project, they are considerable outcomes that frame the impact that the project brought over the next years, because the project didn't end when the time came to end the project. And for visual support, we brought you an adaptation of the 6 dimensions of intergenerational solidarity. So these connections that we talked about, they are not random. And we thought about this while we were designing the project as well. So every time the participants met, there was connection in a structural dimension. And each laughter, every time they listened or felt understood, the emotion connection, the affection and relationships became stronger. Every time that different people found common ground, that was the consensus part of the model. They were sharing a meaning. And every time they supported each other throughout the process, that was the mutual care, the very functional dimension. Not only failure, like from within family, but within the community. And every time they showed up, time and again, that was the commitment to the project and to the people. That is the power of association. Every space that was created with the activities and with the time that we gave to the project, that was really an opportunity to create a new norm, a different way of seeing, because sometimes we can see social answers or social responses like institutions like the elderly homes or elderly facilities that older people really dislike, and we try to make it more comfortable and more enjoyable to be there. So when a young person dances in a flash mob with an older adult, it is not just a performance, it is really a statement that says that we see each other, we can move together, and we belong in the same story. And on that note, Ana, I will now invite you to continue and present the project that was born after this one, Value Solidarity.
Yes, the value solidarity.
Just before
Yes.
going forward, I just wanted to let you know that, to keep an eye a bit on the time.
Yeah,
And
I had
also
it.
to inform you that in the audience here, we have somebody from Salto European Solidarity Core Resource Center. So also happy to have you here, and maybe it's a good
Great.
moment to link you to each other. So please.
Thank you. Well, but this part will be faster because Value Solidarity, it is a solidarity project from the European Solidarity Corps that was born from the KA2. These 5 young people you see here participated in Grand Patamumor and decided to make a solidarity project together with us let's say, to spread the word of Grand Patamumor. What is the difference between Grand Patamumor and the solidarity, this value solidarity? The first one focused only on one nursing home. This one will focus on 11 nursing homes. They decided to make a session in each nursing home of each parish of the municipality. So they passed, not 11, 12, sorry. They passed through all these 12 partners, local stakeholders. These are all nursing homes in Agda, and they made similar activities in all of them. First of all, of course, they had these group meetings and mentoring and this preparing of the local sessions before going to the nursing home. But once again, it was the same structure, the same thing. They explored different themes, like, for example, growing up differently, or even about wedding day, church and divorce. They always spoke about this. Is a very interesting thing that always give a good connection between them. But these were the themes of each activity. But this project was only about this. It was taking grandpa to the rest of the municipality. Claudia.
Yes, about this project, we would just like to refer you to the Green Paper on Aging of the European Commission, because it calls really for this. Solidarity demands more than policies, it demands action. And this project, Value Solidarity, was not just a good practice, it is, and it was a small-scale answer to a big European challenge that we face. And with that, I think we can just move to Futuro Solidário.
Thank you. And yes, after that, another project, a solidarity project, but also connecting elderly people and young people. What is the difference here? The difference in Futuro Solidário, it's like a solidarity future, translating word to word, is that the group of the young people that made this project, they worked with the elderly people that are not in nursing homes, the elderly people that still live in their homes, but family is far away, doesn't come that often, and so they have much time alone. And so they wanted to connect these elderly people between themselves, because sometimes they know that another person is living like 3 houses away from me that is also alone, but they don't meet. And also they want to, of course, to learn from them, and taking them also they could give to the elderly people. So they made physical activities and outdoor activities, cultural and artistic laboratories, digital inclusion, some sessions about this, also some thematic events, like which was in Carnival and all the festival of Carnival, safety and awareness. And these are just some examples of the work done in Futuro Solidário. These are just some images. You may have, they went to the swimming pool, some swimming lessons, not swimming, but hydrogymnastics, do we say like that in English, I hope. And Futuro Solidário was a little bit different, but also very impacting. And impacts, although the projects are different, the impacts are similar between them. But these are 3 examples. How can we do things differently, but also work in this relation between generations? And I'll pass again the word to
Yes, the examples we shared today really show that when we bring ideas to practice, we make policy more than an abstract concept. It really becomes like the framework that supports connections and challenges stereotypes. It creates a society where solidarity, in our case, intergenerational solidarity, flows in every direction. So if we circle back to the spark ignited in me when I was just 17, with the story I mentioned in the beginning, and because today I'm still learning and hopefully still sparkling a little bit, the light there I carry and I intend to pass forward also comes from someone younger than me. And I can share with you that I learned a lot from my own daughter, because intergenerational solidarity is not only about supporting older generations and learning from them, it is also about recognizing the value, the voice, and the contributions of the younger ones. So with that, I think we can leave you our contacts and see if you have any questions for us.
just like to add a question we didn't put here because there's no time to talk about everything, but also in the European Solidarity Corps, in the volunteering of the European Solidarity Corps, we had the School of Life where our volunteers that came from many different countries from Europe had sessions with the people, the elderly people that were in the nursing homes. And the psychologist of these nursing homes was always telling us they are completely, and sorry for that, freaking out just to wait for the time the School of Life happened. So for them, it was a really, really important moment. And this is how you, as you see, you can do this intergenerational dialogue in many different ways. The only thing you need to have is will to do it, actually. And thank you for listening to us. I'll pass the word back to Ana again. Thank you so much, Ana.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. First of all, if you didn't notice, dear audience, you got really a mini training how to do a Key Action 2 project and what kind of activities it could have and what is a solidarity activity in the European Solidarity Corps. So already 2 of the European Union funded programs were introduced to you through very practical, step-by-step almost explanation of how it works. I think it's really, really appreciated. And our colleague Romina from Salto European Solidarity Corps is also thanking you for the work that you do and for bringing people of different ages through European Solidarity Corps. So thank you very much.
There was a question that is mine. And if you have any good practices on how to do needs assessment among the older generation in this case, like how do you map what they want to do, and because it is always highlighted from the aspect of the young people, but I guess this is a two-sided thing, and I just wanted to underline this.
Can I also back Marina up, because I think one of the things, Ana and Claudia, it was really good. The presentation was fantastic. One of the things that quite often I work in care homes with young people between 14 and, well, younger than 14. One of the things I think that's very important is that when you go to the care home, it isn't just a matter of turning up. It isn't a matter of turning up, but it's to be there. And if you say you're going to go with the young people. But I think also you must do ongoing evaluation with the young people and also talking to the residents. What do they get out of our visits? What does it mean to them? And the only thing I worry about is sometimes that you can do a project, and like you said, Ana and Claudia, some of it's still ongoing. But a lot of people in care homes, once you start making that commitment, they expect some kind of commitment because they look forward to you going. We had 2 parties for the people, brought 6 residential homes together to the school, and we got all the young people involved in the school and about 40 residents. Some of them had never been out of the care home for a long time. So my question is also to back Marina up is that there must be positive ongoing evaluation both between the young people and the residents. And please, Rita said something. Young people should be youth-led. It should be youth-led and they should be really involved. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I think a similar question also Carmen has put in the chat, how the voices of older adults are heard and how the evaluation is conducted with all participants, both the young people and the elder people, especially those that are in care homes or similar institutions.
The group is formed from Sonia, Concepcion, Matthias, Omar, and Exena. And we just started to exchange what they had experienced regarding intergenerational activities or dialogue or collaboration or this kind of stuff. And Omar advised us that in his team, regarding students, they are working with fresh students so that they can let them participate, and not only to keep only the old class or older students to join the activities in the university or in the faculty. This is one thing. Sonia also, she mentioned that they have a lot of projects, etc., regarding enhancing competences of volunteers through arts and through cinema and movies. And we just, after the exchange, we wanted to ask about questions, and actually we didn't have time to raise the questions. But if you don't mind, before breaking to the rooms, I've raised a couple of questions if you have time to share. And also I'd like to say to Terry, thank you very much. I didn't see you last time because I wasn't there. So thank you for your interventions. Terry Mattinson, thank you.
Oh, I really like our idtalks community growing so strong. Thank you, Antoine. And we have seen your question. We definitely are going to address it. And since you already mentioned it, I will remind our speakers about it. So the question was, what kind of support you provide for youth volunteers, and how did you succeed to motivate them to keep doing it? I think this is also interconnected questions. This continuity, especially for elder residents, it seems to be an expectation. But then on the end of young people, this is a commitment. And on the end of you as organizers, this becomes a recurring task to make sure that it's not just a one-off visit. So how do you also manage to motivate young people, and what kind of support do you give to them? Thank you very much for the questions. And I see that we are having a lot of also interesting reactions and questions, reactions and examples in the chat. Thank you very much for sharing those. But I think in the interest of time, I'll pass the floor to you, Ana or Claudia, and please address these questions so far. And then I have one more from my side I will give later.
Okay, I'll try to be brief because I know we are running out of time. But for the questions made by the first group, any good practice needs assessment, how do we map? Just to let you know that we have a lot of activity. We have this partnership, Científica, with Municipal Board of Agda. And in this partnership, we run a youth center. And this youth center makes a lot of activities among all the municipality, with every parishes, at every school, with every institution that is connected to the municipality. And so how do we map? In every activity with young people, we always have an ending point that is, let's talk about what are your interests, would you like us to help you develop, what kind of projects are interesting to you, what would you like the youth center to do? It's always this part. So the assessment in young people is done by this way. In terms of the elderly people or other institutions, it's a little bit the same way. We have regular meetings where we meet schools, where we meet the nursing homes, where we meet other institutions, and even the institutions related to I'm forgetting the word, the deficiencia. Just a minute. Claudia, need a help? How do you say?
I was finding the microphone. Yeah, we always tend to do an evaluation, and we always considered, for example, in Portugal, there is still a very low level of literacy among older adults. And in the youth center, we always work based on non-formal education. So participation is voluntary. And because the best motivation is internal, no matter what we do, if the motivation is not there, we can offer a lot of things, but it won't happen. We need to make that connection. About the evaluation, we always do it through dialogue. It is very important to collect feedback and also practice even the participation skills. especially for older adults that are in institutions, because usually they are very accustomed to being told what to do. So when you want to talk about like, what would you like to do? They might not still be ready to answer you. So it is a process to make people reflect and make them like, even we can say empowered to really make the choice to participate. So we do move along the participation scale, not only with young people, but also with older adults, because we need to frame also things in a time setting and in a territory. And our history usually directs us in a way that dialogue is the best option for us to do the evaluation and the assessment of the activities. And that's how we map.
Mhm.
Thank you, Claudia. And I want to say with the Institution for Disabled People, we also meet them. We even submit a project with them now for youth active participation activities. So it's always this connection between, you need always to be connected with the community. You need to hear them, to sit and hear, and then decide what you can do together, what we are able to give, because sometimes we don't have a solution, we don't have a type of activity developed, but it's like that. About the second group and the question that was already on the message group, what kind of support we provide for youth volunteers? Yeah, basically there is one thing we need to do at the beginning. It's about non-formal education, how to work through the methodology of non-formal education, because it is the methodology that allows young people, elderly people, adult people, whatever, to participate more. It's much more participative. We see that the engagement is completely different. And then depending on what they are doing, we give a specific training to specific contexts. For example, we had a specific training about managing conflicts. We had a specific training about the first psychological aids. We have a specific training about what is a nursing home, what things you should care about when you go to a nursing home. It depends on the activity we are having. We prepare them for this. But mainly of all, we also help them to plan the activity from the beginning till the end. This is not only going there and doing the activity and close. It's also making evaluation, reflecting about it, and thinking what they need to change in the next one. And how did you succeed to motivate? Well, that's a huge question, and it's something that is not linear, which means it never happens the same way. Sometimes we manage to keep them motivated, sometimes we don't, as everyone else. It depends on the willing, it depends on their life, mainly in young people. Because, for example, if they are ending their high school and they are moving to university, probably will study out of AGDA. So during that period, we won't have that young people here. It's harder to develop activities with them. On the other hand, we have this superior school here in AGDA, and those who come here get involved in our activities. So we always try to take them interesting activities, things that are interesting for them. That is the main point. They only move for something that is meaningful. And in the case of the elderly people, I think it's a little bit more, I would say, easy, because as they have that agenda of the day, that is waking up, taking medicines, bath, breakfast, lunch, and so on and so on. Taking someone from the outside to the nursing homes is fresh air for them. So we were always, really always well received by our elderly people with any activity we take there. In terms of young people, yes, we see a lack of commitment, mainly in the last few years, because they only move by interests. They don't have that thing that I had when I was 18, that if I said I was going, I'm really going. we don't see that now in young people actually. So let's say the key is taking themes and activities that are really meaningful to them. Claudia, if you want to add something, feel free.
No, just would like to point out, because we do work with the European Solidarity Corps, and I just want to let everyone know that language is not a barrier. Sometimes we go to the nursing home, the older people only speak Portuguese, our volunteers only speak their mother language and English, and they manage to make a connection. And they tell stories and they become really friendly with each other, and it's really enjoyable to see. So sometimes we could be a little bit more resistant to doing some kind of activity, but language usually is not a barrier for that. That's our experience.
And on this note, I have to ask a question that me and Maria have been chatting about and really curious. What is the added value of the international component of your activities? Because, of course, yes, language is not a barrier, but what is the added, how differently are young people reacting in different cultures? Or what is your experience overall, both with the Key Action 2 project and the simultaneous activity across the continent and some mobility opportunities, and also with the volunteers, since you also do this European European Solidarity Corps volunteering projects?
Well, I would say that the greatest of all the benefits is effectively bringing interculturality to the community, because it's sometimes we wanted to pray for be tolerant, accept others, and so on. You only do that if you put different cultures and different people in contact. So the greatest benefit of having people from all over Europe and outside Europe is that they bring their culture, they'll bring their way of doing, they dissipate those stereotypes we create, or mainly elderly people that didn't travel that much. So coming from ones from Poland or from Estonia or from any other country, because with France we have a lot of connection because we had a lot of immigrants in France, and Spain is right beside us. But besides that, everything is like an unknown place. So for them to see that young people from Estonia is not that much different and is not a terrible person that came to their country and is there is quite interesting. So first of all, bringing down stereotypes and bringing interculturality to the environment. And Claudia can talk a little bit more and better about this than me, but even with our volunteers, they always give nice inputs and bring new activities and new strategies to do things. That we are always in the same square, right? We don't go out of this square that we are. So bringing someone outside brings something new always, and also improves the way we can work and give our best to the community, for sure.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we will have to move on now to close this question answer part of our activity. Yes, and I would like to invite now Olaja, to share the work that she has been silently doing in the background, trying to depict the conversation in graphical recording. Please, Ola.
Yes, so checking that you can hear me, and you should be seeing my screen anytime now. Yeah. So this is the little summary, in visual notes of all these practices that Ana and Claudia shared with us. So really inspiring to see that it's really all about coming together, finding what are these spicy topics, not spicy in a tricky way, but just like interesting. What makes that bubble? What gives us this sparkle, right? That then contaminates in a nice way the person that we have in front of us, no matter the background, no matter the age. And it was a beautiful reflection that you made in the beginning regarding this need and this longing for being heard, no matter how old you are. And that is something that unites us as human beings. And that is something that we can always exploit for the better, let's say. So a lot of examples, just finding a cool topic, putting people together, and the magic will make itself. So thank you, Ana and Claudia, for sharing this.
Thank you, Olaja. I will now pass the floor to you, Ana, and then to Claudia, to just say some really final closing words from your side before we finish the day today, please.
Well, through this project and through all the activities Scientific is doing for these 20 years, first of all, we learned that nothing is not automatic. We have always an initial resistance, but we need to see what we can do and take always to our partners, to our stakeholders, the benefit for the community of what we are proposing to do to bring down that resistance. Also, young people always need some help, some preparation. Elderly people need a safe context. They need to feel safe, and they enjoy being with young people and even with children. Facilitators are essential. We always need someone to adjust and give a little bit of the guide of the process. And let's never forget that small things lead to big changes. Sometimes we think we are not doing anything special, but we are actually making the day of someone. Claudia.
Yeah, I totally agree. I will not repeat what you just said, but it is important that we are not afraid of being a small-scale answer, because even if the dream is too big, I think we can try and find the resources within our community, and our best resource is the people. So even though we need to consider the needs, of course, we should always start the project from the resources, and the resources are the people. So thank you all for joining and for your interest in our presentation and in the theme, because it is very important.
Thank you very much. And you are getting tons of appreciation and words of gratitude. I also want to add to them on behalf of our team. I want to thank you very much for bringing this perspective, but also, even more importantly for me today, is how with the existing resources, with the existing available European Union projects, it is possible still to do amazing things that are aligned with your values and bring this intergenerational solidarity really in action. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to our participants of today. I leave you with this thought of the person that actually you have in your mind when you think about who made this impact on you, and to think about intergenerational solidarity more often. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks when we are going to discover one more practice from intergenerational solidarity, and that will be the concluding ID talk for this season. Thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.